Thank you so much for being here, Misty. Great to see you. So this plea deal, it's really divided the families. It, of course, spared Kohberger from the death penalty. I want to start here by playing a little bit of something that Kaylee Gonzalez's brother told reporters just after this yesterday, and we'll talk on the other side.
That moment underscored what we feared all along, and that this case was following the same well-worn path toward expedience over justice, lack of trial due to plea bargains. These aren't just failures in process, they're failures that have real consequences for real people.
He said he feels that his family was not given this real chance at justice. It's something his parents told us when they were sitting right here on set last week, so obviously divided the families. But walk us through what the sentence has provided.
Absolutely. So as the prosecutor said at the very end of his statement before the court yesterday, when Bryan Kohberger walks out of here in shackles and the door closes behind him, that's the end. You can put this behind you. You have finality. So now Bryan Kohberger is serving 4 fixed life sentences, meaning no possibility of parole, 10 years plus 10 years for a burglary. That means he will spend the rest of his life in prison. And he waives his right to any appeal, to seek leniency or resentence down the road. So this was truly to put this behind all of the families who, of course, they're torn, they're grieving, but it does provide finality when trial is always a gamble, even when it seems like it's not.
This has obviously been such high interest, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers were actually fully watching our special report yesterday of this sentencing. And they may have heard, they may have caught, there was a little discussion, kind of almost like an instruction from the judge about the possibility of an appeal. Explain to us what the judge said, and is that totally off the table?
Yes, so the judge said that if you file an appeal, you'll be violating your plea agreement. So he made that point to Kohberger. There's a Supreme Court case called the Garza case, which found that there's no absolute, even when there's an appeal waiver, there's no absolute rule that says a defendant or an incarcerated individual can't file an appeal. They could still do it and go through the process. It is unlikely to be successful, but that Supreme Court case opened the door. So he almost gave a warning that it would violate the terms of your plea and there could be consequences. And that's part of the reason why the judge has said that he's holding back some of what's under seal with the court until that time to file a notice of appeal actually expires.
And would that mean that the death penalty could be back on the table should he file an appeal?
It absolutely could be. There's lots of different things that could happen if he were to violate that plea agreement.
Got it. Okay, so the other thing that we've heard from some parents, okay, he's behind bars for the rest of his life. But the fact that the death penalty is not what ultimately happened here means, is there this option? He writes a book, he gives interviews. We obviously are all still wondering about the motive. Does he end up eventually talking about that, saying, to the judge's point, whatever he feels like, whether it's the truth or not one day? And big important question, could he profit off of any of that? What's the legal rules surrounding that?
So now that he hasn't had the trial, he's pled guilty. That means that he could speak because he's not going to have these appeals that are pending where what he says behind bars could impact him. So nothing can stop him from speaking. Nothing can stop him from telling a story. But there are what's called Son of Sam laws. They are in Idaho. It means he could not profit from it. And if there were to be an interview, the organization would have to alert a government entity, and any profits from that interview would have to go to the victim. So that's the way it works. So it could happen. And, you know, the judge actually addressed this when he spoke to Kohberger and said, don't give this guy any more than this 15 minutes of fame. Don't give him a platform to exploit the victims in this case.
You mentioned the documents that are beginning to be unsealed, not all at once, though. What have we learned so far?
Well, what we've seen is the Moscow Police Department has basically made public a bunch of their investigation records, 300+ pages. And we thought this case could not get more disturbing, but there are even more disturbing details in these documents. The initial investigation saying it was very clear that a struggle occurred. Horrifying scene. Xana Kernodle stabbed 30 times. Kaylee Gonzalez 20 times blunt force trauma and asphyxial injury. So we're learning more, especially from those autopsy reports.
Like a struggle.
Defensive rooms and a struggle. Xana and Kaylee, they fought hard. That's what we could tell from these documents.
Misty, thank you so much for joining us this morning. High interest. We appreciate your time.